How's it going? I'm Jeremy. I'm an experimental archaeologist who focuses mainly on pottery and ancient cuisine. I'm an adventurer, traveler, skier. I currently work in Zion National Park protecting some really incredible cultural resources here, as well as some pretty awesome natural resources as well. There's a 2,000 foot tall sandstone cliff behind me that's pretty awesome to see every day on my way to work. I grew up in a small town in upstate New York. Spent a lot of my younger years performing for little plays we put on for my parents, or community theater, high school musicals. I always really enjoyed embodying a character and bringing a character to life for people. I think it's really interesting to be able to bring people to an experience that they maybe wouldn't have had in another setting, and really bring that character to life for people, change up their day a little bit, or maybe make them think about something that they hadn't thought about before. That's something that kind of informs my interest in archaeology as well, especially as it comes to experimental archaeology. In my perspective, a lot of the research that we do in archaeology is mainly focused on data collection, not as much data analysis, and very rarely taking that next step into sharing with the public. So experimental archaeology is something that I feel pretty passionately about, because it's something that you can bring into a public setting very easily. People can focus a lot more on hands-on things than they can necessarily on sets of data or archaeological digs, those kinds of things, even though they are really fun. I like excavating as much as the next guy, but experimental archaeology for me is something that I find really important, and I think as we progress into the future will become more and more important as we have more and more data, more and more to analyze, and we need to keep sharing things with the public. It's a really important way to keep our industry relevant, but also to make sure that people understand where they've come from and where they're going in life. We need to also protect the cultural resources that are out there. And I think in a lot of cases the best way to do that is to get people to care about them. And people aren't going to care about them if they don't understand them. So helping people understand with a little bit more practical focus, a little bit more hands-on focus, I think is a very valuable resource that we have. I also really like pottery for my personal reasons as well. It's something that I just find to be really comforting in terms of, a lot of times when you make a pot, you don't necessarily start out with an idea of what that pot's going to look like in the end. You just kind of let the clay and the form take itself, and you end up with something really nice in a lot of cases. Sometimes not so nice, but that's okay too. But for me, in a sort of roundabout way, it is a little bit of a metaphor for life. A lot of us don't necessarily have an idea of what we're going to do with our lives when we start out, or even now today at 32 years old, but we keep going, we keep pursuing things, and eventually it takes a form that becomes really beautiful and really interesting. And that's how I view my life, and that's how I hope to continue my life. I would love for my life to take part in what you guys have going on, and if you got something that you want to talk to me about, I'd love to hear about it. Thanks. Bye.